Hi, welcome along to AFTV. Martin Zubimendi is a gooner. At last, he has officially signed for Arsenal. This has been going on for so long. Arsenal have been linked with Martin Zubimendi now for the past couple of years, and Mikel Arteta has finally got his man. The 26-year-old defensive midfielder has signed for Arsenal. And this, I would say, is Arsenal's first really major signing of the summer transfer window. Remember, he was a player that was heavily linked last season with Liverpool. Previous to that, heavily linked with Arsenal. But on both occasions, he decided that he was going to stay at his club, Real Sociedad. A lot of these players who come from Real Sociedad have a real tight connection with the club and that Basque region, and he decided to stay. But now he's finally decided to make that move to the Arsenal, and this is great news for Arsenal because they're getting themselves a really, really top player. Remember, this deal was under threat at the start of the summer transfer window because Real Madrid made moves to try and hijack the deal. They openly put it out there that they wanted Martin Zubimendi. They tried their usual tactics, Real Madrid, of putting it in the Marca newspaper on the front page and talking about how they're going to move for him and how Zubimendi wants to come to Arsenal. And we've seen the playbook before from Real Madrid, but on this occasion, it didn't work. And one of the reasons why it didn't work is that Arsenal had set their foundations for a very long time to get this deal done. It's said that this deal was almost sorted out in January and ready to be done in the summer. He'd given Arsenal an agreement that I am going to join, and Arsenal were really, really relaxed when all the noise was going on in the background about Zubimendi moving to Real Madrid. So he's not going to Real Madrid, not going to Liverpool. As I said, he was heavily linked with Liverpool last year. There's a lot of thought that he was going to go and join them when they were looking for a defensive midfielder. But he has now decided to join Arsenal. And this is an excellent signing for Arsenal. Remember, in the defensive midfielder position, last year it was Thomas Partey and Jorginho. Both of those players have now left. Jorginho, he left to go to Flamengo. Partey, who Arsenal were trying to keep, and he would have been backup to Zubimendi. They were trying to keep Partey, but he decided that he wanted to move on as well. They weren't able to come to an agreement, and Thomas Partey's left. So now it's Zubimendi who's going to be the main man in that defensive midfield position for Arsenal. And it's a very important position for Arsenal because of the way in which they play. That player that has that ability to shield the back four, but then also have that quality to get forward in transition and also to have an array of passing. And those are the attributes that this player possesses. He's been compared over in Spain to Sergio Busquets, the legendary player. He used to play for Barcelona. In the really, really good on the ball, difficult to get the ball off him. Keeps it simple, keeps it ticking along, great passes, And when he does have have to come with a range of passes, he can do that really, really well. And he's good at dribbling and carrying the ball as well. Technically, a really, really gifted player. But then also, he has that defensive ability, the ability to screen the defense, that ability to see danger and to be in the right place at the right time when it comes to defending, because you're a defensive midfielder, so you've got to defend as well as attack. So these are his main attributes. And of course, well-established player over there in La Liga in his time playing for Real Sociedad, and he's a player who's come through the ranks at Real Sociedad, right from the B team right up to now playing as an established member of the first team, and is established himself as a mainstay in the Spanish national team as well. And that's not an easy thing to do because they've got a great side, especially in that midfield area. He's won the Euros with Spain. And remember, he played in the final. He's just got a great all-round game. And this is a really, really fantastic signing. And as I said, a real coup for Arsenal, this one. Think of the clubs that were interested in signing him. And as I just said, Real Madrid, Liverpool were very interested. And a whole host of other clubs around Europe were very, very interested in signing Martin Zubimendi. But he's chosen Arsenal, and that's very, very significant indeed. Just going back to the Real Madrid links, if you remember rightly, he'd spoken when he was playing in the Nations League. He spoke about how he admired Xavi Alonso. Xavi Alonso was kind of his hero when, Xavi Alonso was at Real Sociedad B coaching. He learnt so much off of him. So Real Madrid thought to themselves that, yeah, we can get him. We can use the Xavi Alonso factor to lure him over to Madrid. But as I said, Arsenal had already laid the foundations and got this deal done. And we got to give a lot of respect to Arsenal for this, because deals like this are not easy to do when you've got a player that has been sought after by so many clubs. And for them to get this deal done, show some outstanding planning and outstanding execution on this deal. They have done it by being able to enact his release clause. Arsenal have paid a bit extra instead of just the actual release clause, so that they can pay it in installments, because the original release clause said that you'd have to pay all the money up front. So what Arsenal have been able to do is negotiate with Real Sociedad and say, listen, we'll pay you a little bit extra, but we'll be able to break down the payments in installments. That in turn helps them to buy other players in this summer transfer window without outlaying that full £60 million. So again, smart business and negotiation there by Arsenal. Smart business and negotiation with Zubimendi to make sure that even when, the Hawks came from Real Madrid and various teams, his mind was focused only on playing for Arsenal. And this is going to be a great addition. So Martin Zubimendi, he is going to be the guy coming in that defensive midfielder. Expect Christian Norgard as well. That's going to be the midfield backup to Zubimendi. But Zubimendi will be that main guy in midfield. And I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see that midfield with Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice. I mean, this is some serious quality in that midfield. Martin Zubimendi holding, Declan Rice, box to box, attacking, Martin Odegaard. That's a solid midfield, one of the best around for sure. And I'm excited to see that midfield in action. So once again, just to remind you, Martin Zubimendi has signed a long-term deal at Arsenal. He is an Arsenal player. He'll be our new defensive midfielder for next season. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to say, welcome to Arsenal, Martin Zubimendi.